Hi, my name is Tony Davis. I am a 22-year-old student here at Central Michigan University. I am currently a media arts major and a sports communication minor. I'm a transfer student. I'm currently a junior with the amount of credits that I have. Some things I do here on campus is I do radio actually for men's and women's basketball. So if you want to listen to 91.5 The Mountain, you will hear me doing some sporting events, which is really cool. And then I also am heavily involved in the studio here in Moore Hall. I do things such as Sports Central, and then I also do after hours, just whatever I can do to help. I learning all aspects of the studio, and I definitely enjoy what I do here at Central Michigan University.
What is your favorite media and why?
I would say that my favorite media is the stuff that we do in the studio here in Moore Hall. I love it so much because there's so many different shows that go on in the studio. There's Morning Central, Sports Central, there's After Hours, there's News Central. There's a lot of different programs that they do in the studio, and I think it's really creative, and I just overall love being a part of it. I feel like you learn so much, and I just love being connected with people for different shows.
How do you use it, or do you use it when you're experiencing loneliness?
When I first got here, I was personally very lonely because I didn't know anybody. This was a first time experience for me. I wasn't overall really sure what to expect. How I've kind of used it to really help with like loneliness is just show up, try to get involved as much as you can, because you meet new people, you find really good friends. Like I've met some of the closest people that I've ever met in my entire life doing different shows in the studio, and overall I would just say it's a great experience to be a part of and has helped me with my loneliness.
How often do you use this media?
Sports Central and then After Hours are both every other week. For Sports Central, we have a show every other Monday, and then for After Hours, we have a show every other Wednesday, so just kind of the balance between the two. So usually every other Monday and Wednesday is when I'm personally in the studio.
Do you believe this type of media or media in general is contributing to other CMU students' loneliness? Why or why not?
I personally do, and I feel like just in general, like studio media, it gives students especially just a reason to connect, or the ability to find other people with very similar aspects and similarities that they really enjoy. And I really feel this could help other students, especially if they're experiencing loneliness. That way they can find people to get involved with and really just enjoy their time here, because we're all just, we're trying to have a good time. This is college, we love it, but definitely I feel like being in the studio and having just that media experience is great for them.
What types of media do you think could encourage CMU students to feel more connected?
I was thinking of 3 shows that come in mind for me. I was thinking about the show After Hours, and then there is Morning Central, and then there is Music Central as well. And I think those are good shows, like they're good media to be a part of, because there's such a broad group of people that are in them, and I feel like it would really help with like connecting in the studio and in that type of media, because it can be kind of hard to connect with that. But I mean, if there's a variety of people that have different interests, and then they're going into shows where it's just talking about in general stuff, I feel like that definitely helps people connect and definitely can help with like students that are experiencing loneliness, because obviously nobody wants to go through that.
Hi, my name is Adrian Castile. I am a student at Central Michigan University. I have a major in broadcasting cinematic arts with a minor in multimedia design, and I'm currently a first year in the graduate program for media. I am pursuing a master's in media management at the moment. I'm also 23. I'm about to turn 24 in a month. I think my favorite form or type of media would probably have to be film and TV. Not necessarily one or the other, but I like the ability to tell stories in an entertainment sort of way, not really like a news or interview kind of way, not even documentary. I just love storytelling TV shows and films and what they can accomplish through speaking or through visually. I don't really use media a whole lot when I'm lonely, in the sense of like most people would consider it. Like I don't use social media, or I try not to when I'm feeling lonely. That counts as like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I think when I was younger a lot, I would use media as a way to kind of escapism, but also to feel connected. And by that, I mean I would watch movies or my favorite show, like How I Met Your Mother or Friends, and I would get this sort of connection or like I'm a part of a friend group or that story and community. I would get that feeling of happiness through those things, especially younger. Not so much now I'm older, but I think that really had a big impact on me as a kid when I was trying to deal with not having friends or maybe not being invited to a party, those kind of forms of loneliness. I mean, I use media pretty much every day, but I think more recently I've tried to watch more movies and TV. I wouldn't say I'm getting the same feeling from it or the same gratification from it as I did when I was a kid, but I try and use those things more, especially because I'm in the field, so I'm trying to constantly learn and be inspired by those that make those things. So maybe once a day or every other day, but as a kid I would like chronically be watching movie and TV. I wasn't really addicted to like social media per se, maybe YouTube, but I was always really fascinated with film and TV and I'd watch it like on a constant basis. I think this media probably could be affecting like CMU media students and English students, but when I think of that, I'm thinking of like social media itself, like Instagram, Facebook, what have you. I don't know if everyone's getting the same gratification and pleasures from media like I was talking about, like feeling like movies and TV, but I think all media people and all English people are probably watching those things because it's just in our culture and daily life now. But I think more often than not, they're probably getting inspired to do those things like news, or if an English person wants to write a short story, they're watching a TV show or a movie that maybe jumpstarts an idea. I would hope that maybe media is affecting those people in that way, not necessarily in loneliness, but I definitely think there is a generational effect from social media when it comes to Gen Alpha, Gen Z, and even some millennials when it comes to social media. So I hope it's more positive than it is truly believed to be, but it could also be negative for both departments. I think the media I would push or encourage people, especially here at CNU, to try and put in their media diet or like take in would probably be, not to be a self-plug, but MHTV content, since that is here and produced at CMU. But also, I think just taking in local things, it's kind of hard because there's not like a Hollywood in Michigan, but watching local things, even like on YouTube, local productions, or even broadcast like TV and stuff like that, I think that stuff is incredibly important because it's local and it's here now, and it's things that directly affect people. Because I think it can be really polarizing and hard to watch things in Hollywood or New York because they're so far from us. So there's a little bit of a disconnect. But watching those local things, I think, can make people really feel like a community and feel connected, like MHTV putting spotlights on local restaurants and stuff in our area, like that. The community of Mount Pleasant can watch that stuff, get informed, and be involved with the school. But also on the other side, we're just going the internet. I think watching things like on YouTube that are, maybe more positive or maybe more informational can be really beneficial in making people just feel more connected to deal with loneliness. Because I think there's a lot of media content out there, like, for example, just like Andrew Tate and just different figures in the industry that are constantly pursuing hate and or negative speech and or loneliness and like cutting people off and creating division. And it's really hard, but you just need to look for the things that create unity, love in a community. And it can be hard, but when you find those things, I think it's so rewarding to watch, and I think it's so rewarding to push others to watch that stuff because it's just beneficial for everybody.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I am 19 years old. I am an English major and I'm a creative writing minor, and I'm a sophomore here at Central Michigan University.
What is your favorite media and why?
Surprise, literature. I know, English major, shocking. As for why, I would say I've really always connected with words and reading. My mother was a librarian growing up, and so I read a lot, and that's how I learned about the world and I connected to experiences. In high school, I read a lot of fan fiction. I wrote a lot of stuff. I'm also a major introvert, so reading is a way for me to kind of unpack with the world and kind of take some time for myself and process things. If I'm lonely, I'll read books where the protagonist is like really depressed or lonely, so I can feel a sort of connection and sympathy. Or I'll go back to like childhood books where I read with my mom, something that kind of reminds me of home if I'm feeling lonely or isolated from kind of my support group. So I feel a sense of being seen, I guess. I use literature every day because, again, English major, and so for my classes, there's always constant readings I have to do. I also like to do a lot of reading outside of classes. I find that during the semester, I don't have a lot of time to read for myself, but just in general, I do a lot of reading. Also, we all use reading every day in every aspect of our lives in almost every class. No one can escape reading. I would like to point that out. I think media in general is always going to lead to some level of loneliness because I think media is really, in essence, capturing human nature. I think human nature is inherently lonely. But also, I think that with media, not with literature specifically, but just with media in general, it's really easy to create false narratives. And so, like with Instagram or social media, it's really easy to create the narrative that you're okay when you're not okay, or just this false identity. It's really easy. We live in this culture of performatism. And so I think media really perpetuates that. With literature specifically, I would say it does foster loneliness, but it can also bring people together, because I think with literature, literature seems more of an authentic mode of media to me, because when authors are writing just directly on the paper, there's no one you're performing for. When you don't have a community or you don't have like a physical presence around you, literature can be something that's really good to connect with. Characters going through the same experience as you can help people feel seen and connected. Also, reading is in general connected to like a social context, and so like for instance, as an English major, I do all my reading in the context of a class, and so I'm connecting with people through that, which is again helping fight loneliness. But I also think that being completely engrossed in a novel or just any form of media can be very isolating if you're not using it in a wider social context, because the whole theme of escapism, and it can really become easy to get sucked into a false reality that you then don't see the world around you.
How do you think that this media or media in general could encourage other CMU students to feel more connected?
Well, I think that media in general just allows people to see diverse perspectives and perspectives that aren't their own. And I 100% wholeheartedly believed that if everyone read more, everyone would feel more connected. Because if you think about it, reading is really, you're forced to put yourself in someone else's shoes and see life through a perspective that isn't your own. You're forced to think outside of yourself, which is something that goes so against our culture, I think, which is all about me, me, me. And so if we all read more and if we all examined just life through the lens of someone else, I think we would all be more connected to different communities and to ourselves and just to everyone in general.